Sailor Moon. I'm sure if you're here, you don't need me to weave any poetic words about what a cultural cornerstone this series is. It's also a series with various iterations, translations, localizations, and more. For me, my first experience with Sailor Moon was when I was little, even before kindergarten when the Deke dub of Sailor Moon aired on Cartoon Network. Then, my first versions of the manga were the mini-volumes published by Mix, with the flipped page art and over-Americanized translation. The first Queen, Serenity, is a bit of an enigmatic figure with a good amount of inconsistency in the way she's portrayed, right down to her hair color being blonde for like one episode? I don't know. Queen Serenity is a pontificating, wise, authoritative, gentle, and almost deity-like figure. After all, when her consciousness speaks to the Sailor Senshi in Chapter 10 when they visit the moon, she claims that to Earthlings, she is an incarnation of the moon goddess Selene. Am I pronouncing that right? But despite all this, there are still so many questions left unanswered about her until much later in the story. I'll admit that there were two, I'll call them shower thoughts that sparked me to make this video. The first one is pretty silly, but in some of Queen Serenity's appearances, especially the earlier ones, her crescent symbol appears to be more of a tiara than an actual part of her body, unlike Princess Serenity's. Now, this isn't true of her later appearances, so The second thought that inspired me was this panel, in which Queen Nehelenia remarks to Queen Serenity, "That's funny, since you too came to this planet after wandering the galaxy. Aren't we both immigrants here?" As the ruler of the Moon Kingdom, Queen Serenity is described as a good and just monarch and defender of peace. She also commanded the power of the Silver Crystal, which protected the Earth and the Moon and imbued the subjects of the Moon Kingdom with long lifespans. The peace between the Earth and Moon came to an end when the Earth Kingdom launched an attack on Silver Millennium, led by Beryl under the influence of Queen Metalia. Silver Millennium was destroyed, and Princess Serenity and Prince Endymion were killed. Using the last of her strength, Queen Serenity harnessed the power of the Silver Crystal to reincarnate the lives lost in a peaceful era on Earth, wishing for Serenity's happiness in her next life. In the face of grief and desperation, however, Queen Serenity failed to completely seal Metalia away, leading, of course, to the events of the first arc of Sailor Moon. Queen Serenity is a figure with much power and mystery, as seen by events such as her authority over the space-time door and Nehelenia's comments of her origin. There's been numerous questions surrounding Queen Serenity's background over the years. Who is her husband / Princess Serenity's father? Does she have a father? What planet is Queen Serenity from, if not the moon? How is Queen Serenity able to harness the powers of the Silver Crystal? All great questions with a number of theories to answer them. The one I subscribe to, though, is as follows. Queen Serenity originated from another planet outside the Milky Way. As for that origin, I don't think the specifics really matter. After the destruction of her birthplace, Serenity wandered the cosmos with a fragment of a star seed, the last shell of her home that she had. Then she came upon Galaxy Cauldron, the birthplace of all heavenly bodies and the progenitor of the cycle of life and death. It's possible she visited Galaxy Cauldron to restore the starseed fragment she had, making it capable of a new life. Then she traveled to the Milky Way galaxy, alighting upon the Earth's moon. There she was able to birth Princess Serenity without a father, and use the Silver Crystal to protect the citizens of the Earth and Moon and imbue power upon their lives until the events of the Sailor Moon series. Okay, but Barry, where's your evidence? What's your source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Just kidding. But for real, why do I think Serenity came to the moon after traveling the cosmos after the destruction of her home planet? I'll admit that I did make up the destruction part, but come on, there's got to be some sort of catalyst for her to leave. But other than that, the line spoken to Serenity about coming to this planet after wandering the galaxy is pretty supportive of this theory. Now, I know that Nehelenia is an antagonist and a possible unreliable narrator at that, but what would she gain from lying about this? And Serenity doesn't refute this claim either. At the very end of the manga, Guardian Cosmos tells Usagi that a shining heavenly body came here in perfected form like all of you, and that she was cradling a fragment of a small heavenly body to her chest. That heavenly body had the same powerful luminescence as you, Sailor Moon. How could Princess Serenity not have a father? Well, he is never mentioned or seen, plain and simple. And when thinking about the Guardian Cosmos at Galaxy Cauldron mentioning the fragment of a heavenly body, it's not out of the question to think that she used this fragment to give birth to Princess Serenity, especially considering the legendary Silver Crystal is revealed to be Sailor Moon's own Sailor Crystal, the special starseed belonging to every Sailor Guardian. After all, Guardians possessing Sailor Crystals can be reborn over and over. Most intriguing to me is the part where Guardian Cosmos mentions that Queen Serenity was in perfected form. Seeing as what Usagi and company endured to reach their perfected forms, what did Queen Serenity herself have to endure? I want to thank everyone here for their enduring patience with me as I deal with a ton of life changes and adjustments. I still love making videos and I want to keep doing so for as long as I possibly can, and I hope to have you stick around and hang out in the meantime. Thanks so much and see you in the next video.